Greetings collectors and welcome to today's retro game review. Today we're travelling back to 1992 to look at a rather obscure game from Ubisoft. It's time to take another look at Sir Fred for the Commodore Amiga. For full disclosure, I've been using an unlimited energy cheat this week as I'm still really rubbish at this game. For collectors, there's nothing quite like the feeling of picking up a game that you've been hunting down for some time. For me, Sir Fred was one of those games. It was a game that I had played when I was younger, but never seen it in a decent enough condition to add to my collection. So, what's it all about? Graced with strength and bravery, Sir Fred won the heart of a beautiful damsel. In doing so, he also brought on the wrath of the evil dwarf Ultimore, who transformed him into a vulnerable gnome. In his quest to break the evil curse, the dwarf Sir Fred must overcome the danger of magicians, flying monsters and numerous traps in order to regain the prestige that built his legend. Right from the off, Sir Fred is full of inconsistencies. The box text refers to him as both a dwarf and a gnome. No big deal here though, as it's likely that the original text has been translated from French origins. What's more confusing though is the actual name of the game. The box refers to the game as Sir Fred. However, the in-game titles drop the title in favour of just Fred. Again, this isn't a big deal, but it clearly demonstrates that there were communication issues between marketing, the artwork teams and the developers. So, how does Sir Fred play? In a nutshell, not well. You'll find yourself wondering if your joystick is actually working. Fred can walk, roll, use his sword, jump and throw daggers. All of this is mapped to just one button plus the main joystick directions. The whole control system is a bit awkward. The dexterity of the in-game character just isn't there to support the movement needed to avoid projectiles and aim your own attacks. Another pitfall is the weapon system itself. If you stand to throw a dagger, its path will loop over the head of smaller enemies. In a game where 90% of your enemies are gnomes, that's a big issue for the player. Instead, I found that I had to crouch to achieve a straight shot. The third element is perhaps the most frustrating feature, and that's that Fred can't jump whilst on stairs or into objects. Instantly, if you try this, he will slump to the ground like a sack of dead gnomes. This can be incredibly frustrating. So, the control system is quite subpar, but there are nice touches in the game mechanics. Generally, it's a case of find the level key and exit via a locked door. What's interesting about the setup is that the levels, although 2D, have 3 planes of depth, so you will find yourself moving from the background to the foreground to traverse the level. It's a very nice touch. Graphically, Sir Fred is rather pleasing. It's one of those games reminiscent of Shadow of the Beast. Ultimately, they're games that are much nicer to watch than to play. The enemies are well drawn and animated. All of the dwarves have great personality and character. Despite being a real pain to kill, I have to respect this ninja gnome. I'm going to give the gnomes a free pass in this game, but we'll be more critical of the spiders, wasps and ravens. The ravens often appear black on a black background, so good luck in seeing those approaching in time. The spiders and wasps though? These are just something to ruin your day. You can't hit them easily standing up, so you have to aim diagonally from below, or jump attack them, or stand far away enough for a dagger to loop into them. Combine this with the stair collision issue, and really the game becomes not fit for purpose. So, why on earth am I wasting your time by showing you Sir Fred today? Well, it's particularly the nostalgia and partly the connection with Ubisoft. Now better known for franchises such as the Rayman series, Sir Fred represents a time when the company hadn't quite found its feet on the world stage. As such, an early game release is almost always of interest to completionist collectors and those that just like to find out more about gaming history. That brings us on to the cost of gaming history. This is the cover for the original Sir Fred release. For collectors, this is one that we sit around just asking ourselves, how did this artwork get approved in the first place? Sir Fred is, well, he just doesn't look right. The princess? Yes, she's out of the pack clip art. And just what is this thing? It's just a mess all round. The only part I actually like here is the gnome, dwarf, goblin thing. It's a shame as he's the only one we can't see the face of. To top it off, you're looking at spending £150 to collect this one, or around $180 US. Still, that's the price you pay for an early edition. What many collectors may not be aware of though is the re-released version of Sir Fred at a fraction of the price. This is the Sir Fred I have in my collection. Expect the standard game floppy disk, a black and white manual, and a small box format. This edition was released in the Action 16 series. Action 16 had a small amount of success in repurposing games after their initial print run. I've not been able to find a reliable source, but all indicators are that this game had a very low print run. With the original in scarce supply, this re-release was never intended to be a hit. Action 16's job was there to mop up any extra cash with budget releases. In terms of pricing, I'd say the jury is out on this one. I paid around £15 in the UK here for my copy, that's under $20 US. The price though doesn't reflect the rarity, but rather the demand from collectors. Just to take a quick look at the box artwork, the side panels give a clear title of Sir Fred. In the main artwork though, it's a bit of a mess. The rather ornate font in combination with the orange and yellow on orange and yellow background just seems like an odd choice. For designers, if you must insist on the same colours, at least add a keyline around the edge, as was done on the side title. The artwork itself though, well, it might just be awesome. Sir Fred, who seems to appear full size, stands wailing on a couple of dwarves. It's brilliantly tacky, yet actually illustrated really well. Sir Fred is certainly a bit of a challenge to play. If you grew up in the post-floppy disk game age, you just won't appreciate how non-user friendly some games were for the audience. All the same though, we still enjoyed them. Sir Fred does have its moments. The animation on the characters is really great, and the developers even throw you a bone every now and again by introducing a magic star. Hit this and it acts as a smart bomb, killing everything on the screen. There's also some nice Easter egg work from the original developer. Look closely on the second stage and you can see Copyright Incal 89 inscribed on the wall. For Ubisoft, Sir Fred was a stepping stone to greater success. Outside of collecting circles, it's unlikely that most will know this title firsthand. I really wanted to cover this game though, as it does deserve some love from the next generation of gamers. It's a great looking and great sounding game. Sir Fred may now be relegated to the gaming vaults for most collectors, but it will always bring back childhood memories for myself. Terrible, frustrated childhood memories. Hello again, I hope you enjoyed today's show and thank you for the view. Remember, you can always comment, like, subscribe and find us on the social media sites below. Happy collecting!